everybody, Thrifty Picker here. It's been a while since my last video, mostly because I've been busy, which that's a good thing. Picking, of course, and putting stuff on eBay and selling on eBay, making that extra money. Did fairly well since I got back into picking and eBaying. I've made quite a good substantial amount, but it doesn't all go to me. Some of it goes to people that I've partnered up with to sell their items. So that's working out pretty good. Something I wanted to talk about today was eBay. I watch a lot of redneck picker videos, and he brought up something that I'm actually going through right now as somebody that just doesn't want to pay, or like for instance, I had a sale go, and the person said that they live in Australia, and normally I don't ship outside the US because of this particular reason that I'm getting ready to mention, is because the shipping is so high. You know, they might pay $2 for something, but it costs them $60 to ship it, and that's no joke. The item that was bought was, it was an old iron, or waffle iron. So it's going to have a little bit of weight to it, maybe 8 pounds, but still, whenever you get into international shipping, you're going to have a large amount. Now, even this is a flat rate box, even to ship it to this location was like $60. And so, the person just decided not to even reply to any of my emails. So what I've offered was to just cancel the transaction, and I would recommend that to anybody. Instead of getting into a no-win situation as far as trying to get your money or get the item paid for, your best bet is to just give them a set date that they either reply or pay. And if they don't, and you send all this stuff through the eBay messaging, that way eBay can see what's going on, that you have tried several times to, sorry, my speaker's acting crazy, tried several times to get this transaction paid for, or get a response from the buyer. So what you need to do is you give them a set date, and say you can either and do it professionally. You don't have to call them names or nothing like that. Just say, okay, if you're not going to pay for this item, then what I'm going to do is cancel. If you don't pay for it by a certain date, whatever date you choose, then I'm going to cancel this transaction. Not going to give negative feedback, just cancel the transaction and relist it. If you had a few watchers on it, or if it was bid up some, one of those people are going to get it. And make a note on your payment, in that little payment box where you can add things when you're listing your items, that add what your restrictions are. Like me, I'm going to put in there, I will not for any circumstances ship outside the United States. And it's only because this is like the third time this has happened. I'm done with that. I'm done with trying to get international people sales or whatever completed. It's not my fault that the post office charges so much to ship international. So I'm not going to give them negative feedback, and I hope they don't give me negative feedback. But that's your best route, just to cut your losses, cancel the transaction, and relist the item and go about what you're doing. So that's just one of my tidbits for this particular video, is to always be professional. If you're going to get into this and do this seriously, you got to keep like Redneck Picker said, treat your feedback like it's your credit rating. You want to make sure that you don't get any negative feedback whatsoever. And I just had an instance where something got broke. I'm refunding the item plus part of the shipping cost. There was 4 items that this person bought, but one of the 4 was broke. And I also offered that if I come across another one, I will send it to them, free of charge, to replace that one. It's a vintage item, so it's not like I'm going to find them everywhere. But if I do, I'm going to honor that, and I'm going to send it to them, because that's just the right thing to do. Another thing, with packaging glass, don't always try to go for the cheapest route as far as shipping, because the post office, UPS, DHL, all those, they don't care. You know, I worked for a company where we shipped items out, and you know, or we received items in. And there's a lot of time there's damage claims because of once it gets put on the truck, you have no control over that item. Once it's on that truck, going to its destination, you don't know what this driver's going to do. If he's going to drop kick it into the back, because a lot of times, they'll load up things through what they call manifest loading. Once it gets to distribution, it'll go to manifest loading, which means the furthest item away is going to be in the very back of the truck. So if you have items from Ohio to Alaska, Alaska's item is going to be in the very back. So if you're shipping something to Alaska and it's glass, make sure that it's packaged extremely well. Even if you have to have charge an extra bit for weight, it's better to do that, because these items will get moved quite often once they get their manifest loading situated, from closest to farthest. And sometimes, you might send an item out, and depending on how you ship, UPS, what they do is, or even trucking lines, if it's a large item, they load everything in the truck. Okay, it gets to a distribution center. They go through to see what truck these items are going to go on, and they will load the next truck based on where these items are going. So if you have a small item, glass, and it's going to be in the furthest part of the truck, it's going to be moved around quite a bit before it's even placed in that truck. And these people, I know this because I worked in this shipping and all that for 20 years. So I know how people can be when they drive these trucks. And I've seen truck drivers do it. I've seen mail carriers do it. They just toss things in. They're on a schedule. Okay, it might, even if you put fragile, sometimes I think they say, ooh, and kick it on purpose. You ever seen that episode of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, where he's walking around that box and you can hear stuff rattling around it and he's kicking it? Well, that's kind of the way people see, these drivers. Not all of them are like that, but some of them, you never know. So if you're going to ship out fragile items, package it like it were a raw egg. Like it was just the most expensive Fabergé egg, whatever you want to call it, in the world. Because you want to make sure that it gets there on time and get delivery confirmation, and if it's something that's of value, put some insurance on it, just to make sure that if something does happen, it's covered. If it's a one-of-a-kind item, it's not going to be replaceable, but just some thoughts, to if you're going to be packaging stuff like what I do. I buy and sell anything that's vintage, glass, plastic, whatever it is. I always make sure that it's packaged very well. And if you look at some of my feedback, I've had one instance, and that's the one I'm working with right now, but I've sold the old Avon Ruby Red Cape Cod collection. Pieced it out, for this, to this, but I packaged it as best as I could with, bubble wrap. You wrap it in bubble wrap, then you wrap that in cardboard, then you put it in the box. Give it that extra stability. Just to make sure that I've had one item out of probably, I don't know how many pieces were in that collection, probably 25 pieces, that got broke. And they were with 4 other pieces, and it was because the United Postal Service decided that, hey, this says fragile on it, I'm going to kick it a field goal with it. At least that's the way the guy described it. Said the box was crushed, and so sometimes writing fragile on the box is probably not a good idea. Just make sure you package it extremely well. Even if you have to use a bigger box than what the item is to make sure it gets to its destination, that's a good thing. So, but it's been good. I've as far as my sales have gone, I'm doing pretty well. I'm paying bills, and I got a new TV to hang in here in my office, which I love it. I got not a new computer, but I got a computer that I can use in my office. Where before, I was having to share with my roommate and stuff. So, but have my own, and things are going well. Get out there, and the weather's turning nice here in Ohio. So garage sales, they're going to be popping up like dandelions. Garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, all that stuff. Get on that. I think it's yard sale locator or something like that, where you can have emails sent to you to get there to find out when all the yard sales are going to be, and sometimes they list what's going to be in there, see if there's something of interest for you. As a matter of fact, there's one this morning that has a few things that I'm interested in. There's got some vintage glasswares and stuff like that. So, and another thing, something to look out for, is vintage salt shakers. I never knew that people collected salt shakers until I started buying them from thrift shops and stuff. And use your gut instinct when you go look for stuff like this. If your first thought is, I think I can make some money off that, go with that instinct, because I didn't do this once, and I was lucky enough to go back a couple days later and get the piece that I should have bought that day when I seen it. It was a Westinghouse, salt and pepper shakers from the 70s, I think. They had the marigold coloring and the flowers and stuff. And it was actually the salt, pepper, and sugar shaker. It's not often you find those three together. And I usually only take about $20. And I hate having to spend all of it or most of it on one item. Well, they wanted $7 for the set. And I already had a few pieces, that I knew I could make some money off of. These I weren't sure of. Because they had been there for like 2 days. I'd been there a couple times. 2 days. And nobody picked them up. So I thought, well, maybe they're not worth anything. So, I pulled out my phone. I was looking. Didn't see them right away because there's a couple thousand salt and pepper shakers, collectibles, on eBay. So I didn't have time to stand there and look. So I passed them up. And about 2 days after that, I was sitting in my chair, and I was on my BlackBerry Playbook. I usually sit out there with that, mess with that on eBay and watch TV, and I thought, something's kept eating at me about that Westinghouse salt and pepper shaker set. So I thought, I'll check it out. So I, typed it in there, and probably about 6 or 7 pages in, because there's quite a few salt and pepper shaker collectibles on there. There they sat, and they had a $9 bid just on the salt and pepper shaker alone. They didn't have the sugar shaker. So, well, it was Sunday, and close, late in the evening. So Monday came around. I went back to the thrift shop, and lo and behold, there they sat. So I grabbed them, and I put them on, and I did sell them. I think I only made $4 or $5 extra off them, but still, it was my gut instinct that I didn't trust that first time. From now on, if I think it's going to bring me a couple dollars, I'm getting it. And I suggest you do the same thing. Use your gut. And I learned, I watched a lot of Thrifty Picker videos. He's got some very useful information. He's great. He's great. Between what I'm saying and check out some of his stuff. He's a great picker. He's a great inspiration for those of us in this field. Somebody asked me if I was doing this full or part-time. Right now it's just a part-time, kind of like I really wouldn't call it a hobby, because it actually does help, substantiate some of the bills and pay some of those that, that pile up through the month. I don't expect to ever make millions at this. And who knows, I might find something that's worth millions and never know it. But it's fun. If you're going to get into this, do your homework. I spend hours looking up pieces that, just to make sure I get the descriptions right. And that's another thing, if you're doing eBay, tell them anything that's wrong with it. And something that RP said, do not use stock photos. If you have the item, take a picture of it, because they want to see what you have. They don't want to see a stock photo. They want to see the item that you are describing. And if there's things wrong with it, if you can get a picture of it and just put it in the description, I find that I sell more stuff because I'm being honest, and I get a lot of just as described in my feedback, and great eBay seller and all that. That's the kind of stuff I like. Don't just because it's got a little bit of value to it, if there's something wrong with it, don't disclose that, or don't hide that, I guess is what I'm looking for. You have to make sure that your items are described as they are. If there's something wrong with it, you add the being sold as is, because of, something to that, to let them know that it does have flaws. That way you're being honest. And if they really want it, they're going to bid on it. So, and another thing, so that's my dog, just so you don't have a lot of stuff backing up into your storage area as I do. If things don't sell, relist them a few times. If they still don't sell, take them to the flea market and sell them. Or set up a yard sale. Somebody will buy them. Or you can take them back to where you got them. Redonate them. But that's been my tips for the day. If you have any questions or comments or anything else you'd like to know, or feel free to leave a comment and or a question, and I'll answer it in my next video. So this has been the Thrifty Picker. Keep on picking. Bye.
I've been up and down, sideways, crossways, outside in and inside out. I took a rocket ride across the sky a couple times till the